This program is satire about true crimes and their consequences. It may, therefore, contain descriptions of violence against people and animals, strong language, as well as other triggering content, and may not be suitable for those under the age of 16. We neither endorse nor condone any illegal actions. So please, don't go chopping anybody up.
I don't think I've ever really had a written rule in my life. Like never date somebody from a slaughterhouse.
In the U.S., someone commits a murder every 30 minutes. Many of those killers are convicted and then imprisoned because criminals are dumb. During this podcast, we will examine where they went wrong and analyze their mistakes. We're not dumb enough to kill, but if we were, we would kill smarter.
Well, welcome guys to Kill Smarter. I am actor, comedian, writer Jay Burns, and joining me, the shrimp to my Barbie in this journey down under, the wonderful, the beautiful Aaron Lidecker. Aaron, aw, that's so nice.
How are you tonight?
I am wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
I'm pretty anxious for today's criminal because I think they're kind of fun.
That's one word for him. Or
to be fair, that is always the word for it. That is always the one word for it, I should say. Shall we get down to the nitty-gritty? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I was just going to say, I guess it depends on what your idea of fun is. I mean, some people like water slides. Some people like some people like a night. Some people like a night out. Some people like a night in.
I was just going to
say, some people and some people like to eat ass, and some people like to eat ass.
Well, that's a bit of foreshadowing if ever there was some, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys about our criminal tonight. Today, we're going to be talking about Katherine Knight, the Cannibal of Aberdeen. Now, early on February 29th, 2000 in Aberdeen, New South Wales, after an argument with his wife, John Price was told by police that a restraining order would take weeks to process. He went home, but told a few neighbors and coworkers that if he didn't go to work the next day, Katherine Knight, his wife, probably killed him. John, in fact, did not go to work the next day because Knight, in fact, did murder him. Later on in the night of the 29th, Katherine went to John Price's house while he was sleeping. The two had sex, after which Price fell asleep. Katherine, a meat worker, then attacked John with one of her recently sharpened knives. Price tried to escape, running around the house and even making it to the front door, but Katherine subdued him and dragged him back inside. Autopsy results show Price was stabbed over 37 times. For anyone else, that would be enough overkill, but Knight went on to use her skills she gained working for the slaughterhouse to good use. She skinned John completely, decapitated the body, and then boiled the head in a stew pot with vegetables. Katherine then cooked up a few slices of John's buttocks, eventually serving them on two plates with a healthy side of baked potatoes, vegetables, and gravy. The plates were labeled with name cards for the names of John's adult children. Knowing the party isn't a party without John, Knight positioned the rest of his skinned corpse on his favorite chair, making sure to cross his legs and hang up his skin on a hook in the lounge. Despite being labeled a cannibal, Katherine Knight never ate John Price. Instead, she attempted to commit suicide by overdosing and fell unconscious instead. Police found her and the body when they were alerted by a neighbor who noticed John's car in his driveway well after he was supposed to go to work. Word is the crime scene was so horrific that several police officers quit, and a few even refused to eat meat months after the crime. Knight was arrested and a year after the crime sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. She's the first and only female to be given that sentence in the history of Australia. And that was Katherine Knight, the Cannibal of Aberdeen.
One thing when I was like reading about this, I was like, I love how she's not forgetting to eat those vegetables.
No,
like
that's the most important part, right?
like we have this head, but let's not forget the nutrients of the Brussels sprouts. Okay, I don't even know if there were Brussels sprouts there, but
I'm assuming there would have to be. I just, I keep thinking about like, this is a prime example of the problem with children nowadays, right? Like, I feel like this is what happens. You want to serve a nice stew, and then the kids start complaining. They don't like stew. And so you have to cook some ass in order. I mean, I get, when you have picky eaters, you do what you have to for the picky eaters. You cook up some ass, and that's what you do. But this is the problem with kids today. You have your deadhead stew. That's what you're supposed to have.
Hey, skin dad, can you please pass the potatoes?
That sounds like a bad movie from the 80s. Hey, skin dad.
The thing is, like, if you look at the history of this woman's history, okay, like, and I looked a little bit, like her mother was raped repeatedly by her father, like 10 times a day.
Yeah.
And she had a slew problems historically.
Oh, yeah.
She's hit people with frying pans. They've come back. Like, what is going on? Like,
and this was her, I think, fourth husband or something like that. Like, she got married a bunch of times beforehand. So obviously there's a common denominator there.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like but these people, these guys who married her, these people, but these guys who married her and like got restraining orders, and like one was stabbed in the chest.
Yeah.
And they came back. Like, I feel like part of their fault is on these guys. I mean, like,
I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't think I've ever really had a written rule in my life, but I think it should be an unwritten rule in everyone's life. Like, never date somebody from a slaughterhouse.
No,
that just seems like bad form.
That's mistake number one right there. I guess
that was mistake number one.
That was mistake number one. Like, slaughter. This woman likes to carve meat for a living. It's not you. It's just not
never go out with a slaughterhouse babe. That's what you do.
Yeah, I guess. Glass half full. It was a clean skin. Like he went out looking good.
I mean, she was very skilled enough to be able to take the entire skin off and hang it on a hook.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is this, and back to why these guys kept coming back, like if I throw something in the recycle bin that's not supposed to be there, okay, my wife's leaving. All right. I will leave if she snores too loud. And these guys are coming back with like, after they've been hit with frying pans, stabbed in the chest, it's there. I mean, she looks like someone you'd see stuffing steaks in her sweatpants at Walmart. Okay.
And it makes you think, like, the sex has to be amazing.
With the crazy ones, it always is.
I mean, it really is. It's true.
Yeah.
But like, literally right before she stabbed this guy to death, like, and he was getting a restraining order, she broke into his house, and then he was like, one more time. Like, let's do it one more time. I can't fathom that.
Well, I mean, I hate to say this, being a man,
but you're going to
being a man. But I mean, the cliche that we think with a wrong head all the time is sometimes true.
Very obvious in this woman's life. Very, very obvious in this woman's life.
And like I said, you look at this woman; she's not exactly like Elle Macpherson.
No.
Could I think of a more dated model?
You could have. I think you could have. I mean,
she's no Mae West.
She's no Helen of Troy, but come on. and like, the best is, like, obviously this woman had some issues. She was married multiple times. She's had multiple restraining orders, multiple incidents. And this guy, John Price, was supposedly like the nicest human being in the world. Everyone's like, oh, we love Joe, and he's fantastic, And I don't understand why, like, he was like, Let's do it. Let's do it one more time, baby.
This like, but and not to get serious, but this woman grew up around trauma.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like it was everything was like leave it to Beaver, and then one day she's like, I'm just gonna start killing everybody.
Oh no, there's like
she
every
grew up
classic serial killer thing happened to her. You know what I mean? Like every classic red flag of a serial killer has happened in this woman's life.
100%. And like I read that she like sliced a dingo's so Australian. It was like she sliced her husband's dingo, like she sliced its throat.
That sounds like a really disgusting euphemism when you say it that way.
No, I think it was either a dog or a dingo.
She sliced her husband's dingo, and he never walked the same ever again. Yeah, no, there was. I think it was a dog. I had read.
Yeah, a dog.
So I know. See
what is this? I would rather see people brutally murdered than see a dog get kicked.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's just an innocence to a dog that, and this is not like an animal. This is not an animal love thing, because any other animal, I don't care. I mean, like, but dogs, those have a special place.
I mean, obviously she works in a slaughterhouse, so giving a crap about animals is not exactly high on her priority list.
Yeah, and I think like the slaughterhouse must have been like the town warehouse, like not the warehouse, but you know, like the town where like everyone works at the mechanic. Yeah, everyone works at the mechanics, or everyone works for, you know, Goodyear or whatever.
Yeah, and like it's in Aberdeen, which is a large city, but like they actually live outside of Aberdeen, like in a suburb of Aberdeen, which is I didn't read anything about that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the job everybody has, because you know that's what you do when you're bored in Australia. You just slaughter cows.
Yeah, and she had a meat hook in her house. Like she hung him up by a meat hook.
Yeah.
Like I read that when the police came there and one of the cops pulled a tarp, but he wasn't a tarp. It was actually the guy's skin hanging on a meat hook.
Yeah. That's one of the guys that was like, yeah, I think I'm going to give up meat for a little while. I'm pretty good. You know, I don't know. I feel like maybe that's whatever happened to all of them. Like one of them was like, oh, look at this nice little tarp that,
yeah.
Look at this beautiful steaks.
Yeah.
I wonder what's in this pot on the stove.
I guess I'll throw away that porterhouse I had thawing.
You know, right? I know.
Yeah. There's $60 down the drain.
All of a sudden, there's a booming tofu business in Aberdeen.
Oh yeah, right. Well, what was the idea behind it? Like, was she actually going to try and serve her kids this food with the body there? It
wasn't her kids; it was his adult children.
Oh yeah.
So they just live with. But I think she hated the kids so much that she was trying to, like, you know, sort of get back at them by having them eat their father, because they loved him so much, just like everybody loved this guy so much. So I mean, that's the only thing I could fathom from, you know, why it happened. There's not a lot of interviews with her, at least not after the fact.
It reminds me of the scene in Rocky Horror Picture Show when
oh yeah,
at the end when you see that they're eating
Eddie.
Meatloaf.
Yeah,
Eddie. Yeah, they're eating meatloaf. But I mean, oh man.
So I guess the question really now that the crux of this entire podcast, because she did this wrong, she did everything wrong. What would you have done better, Aaron?
Well, the first thing is I wouldn't have killed the guy in his house.
Okay.
I would have tried to get him to. I mean, come on, the house, like the people are going to see the car's not there. I mean, the car's there, so they're going to investigate. At least do something where you're going to have somewhat of a head start.
No pun intended.
You know, yeah, right. That's true. But I mean, like at least like lure him somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, at least do something.
And again, I mean, it's just a matter of like, this is one psychotic woman.
Yeah, and I mean, thing is, like, you look at her history. She's stabbed people. She's hit people with frying pans. Why the jump to eating? Like, where? Like, there's like all of a sudden, like you see a lot of people stab a frying pan. I guess. I mean, it sounds like something from a Three Stooges, but
I was just going to say. I mean,
yeah,
it's, you know, not
like
too far. I mean, truly, I think if the Stooges kept going for another like 5 years, it would have been an eating episode. You know, They made the little dictator, and then they did an episode of Cannibalism where they eat Curly Joe.
Why do I picture like an episode of Cannibalism when like they're in the jungle and they're in a pot? Oh, and like you got the guys with the bones in there, like, that are probably
the most racist depiction of human beings ever. Yeah, that one. No. I mean, continue on with the story.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was. Like that's why it's either that or maybe Abbott and Costello is definitely. I've definitely seen old footage where, I mean when they, they're in the pot, like, but why go for like I guess that's the first thing I would have done differently is I don't have, and I'm a meat eater. I like your pork. I like your beef. I like your chicken, I like chili con carne, enchiladas, but I don't I've never been like, you know what? Like, I think I'd like to eat my wife or eat my girlfriend or eat my best buddy for supper, Even in the big cannibal craze of the Silence of the Lambs in 1990,
because everyone was Jeffrey going crazy chewing on people,
or Jeffrey Dahmer,
So all right, first, there is a. I don't know why I have studied this, but there really is there was a sociologist that was teaching his anthropologist maybe. That was teaching his students about, sort of these primitive cultures in like Papua New Guinea and things like that. And there's one culture he was talking about that he spent time with, and they are a cannibalistic culture. They do cannibalize their own. And he was obviously cannibalism is illegal everywhere else in the world in these places that are not, supported by these indigenous people. And so he wanted to find a way to have that same thing for his students, to have that same experience that he had with these tribes. And so he found a tofu version. He created a tofu version of human called Hufu. And I don't know if you can still buy it, but it is literally a tofu. It's a human flavored tofu. So you can see what it's like to taste humans.
That is very interesting.
I
am going to look into that. And I am going to look into that because I don't know if you know this, but my wife is a vegan. Okay.
No, and I didn't.
Yes. Yes. Okay. This was not agreed upon when we got married. This came later.
Yeah.
I have a whole bit about it if you guys want to check out my comedy. But so anyway, but this came later. Yeah. And I cooked tofu for her. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Tonight I fried it up with like a breadcrumb and like I seasoned it.
Yeah.
All I taste is tofu. Whenever I taste it, I'd rather.
Oh my God. You're actually gonna throw up. Okay, don't do that.
No, seriously. When I eat tofu, and that's all I can taste is like. I would rather.
Don't make yourself throw up again.
No. I wasn't even on purpose. That wasn't even on purpose. Like it's like my senses.
We're gonna have to put a trigger warning at the beginning of this episode. Like people who are very easy to throw up. Like if you hear it and then you're gonna start vomiting, don't listen to this episode.
You know those people who like see blood and like faint.
Yeah.
Like there's people who like see that and like they'd be like, oh my God. But
absolutely.
Anyway. But it's funny that the part that's making me sick is not the head in the stew or the ass, eating the ass. It's the tofu. Because in all honesty, like I would rather probably eat someone's arm than a piece of tofu. And I wouldn't even want to eat someone's arm. Unless like, I don't know. No, probably no, never.
No, what stopped you? No. Well, who was the person that came in your head that you're like, oh, maybe.
Well, I guess no, I wouldn't even want to eat anyone's arm. No, I wouldn't. No. But I guess I was like gonna say like if it was like like one of those like situations in like I'm stuck
like in a live
Antarctica or live situation.
Yeah. Like you're stuck in the Andes Mountains with a soccer team. This is what you got to do.
Yeah. I don't even think I'd eat someone's arm then. But if it was like a choice between someone's arm and like, oh, we're stuck in the Antarctic, but I brought this tofu, I'd be like, give me your arm. I just don't like tofu, you know. But
Apparently
seitan.
So.
But seitan,
I do
which
like
isn't
Satan.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, you cook that up.
I call that.
You can't even. So okay, so back to what I would do differently.
I apologize.
No. We're gonna. This is the joy of podcasting. We go in different directions, but we bring it back in such a clear way.
We make people vomit on content.
Yeah. And I brought it back with such style. I said, let's just bring it back.
You did.
But I think first of all, I would probably not have chosen to kill by skinning someone and possibly eating them. That's a little hard to clean up. That's hard to clean up.
No, this was a lot of blood.
Yeah. And I would have done it if I was going to do it. I would have probably tried to. I mean, she's lured them, all these guys, into doing whatever. I would have lured them to some cabin or something else. Like, it just almost seems like she wanted to get caught. Like, there's no way you're not going to get caught.
I mean, I don't know if she wanted to get caught. I mean, she tried to kill herself. You know, she tried to take pills to kill herself. So
no, but she wanted it known that she did this. Yeah.
Yeah. She definitely wanted some notoriety, but she also, understood that, it was not exactly the nicest thing to do.
Imagine she tried to, imagine waking up from trying to kill herself. She's like, oh shit.
Yeah, you just have that, oh no.
I was so close.
Hello, Sheila. You did something wrong today.
Good eye, Sheila.
That's the only Australian we can do, and we apologize for any Australian listeners or anything out there.
Yeah, they're like anytime I do an Australian, it turns into like a
Jamaican,
like a hey man. No, it turns into like a British. Like, I talk like this, like when I try and talk like this, it's out like this.
Now you sound like Pinky from Pinky and the Brain.
I don't know what that is, but did you ever see the what's that?
You know what Pinky and the Brain is?
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm gonna send it to you later. Don't worry.
Okay, cool. Did you ever see that meme? There's like, if you say beer can, it sounds like bacon in Jamaican or something like that. It's like beer can.
Oh yeah.
If you say beer can with a German, that shoes and fisting.
Yeah, I know, right?
But if you say beer,
shoes and the fisting.
just look up beer can meme. I can't remember.
My favorite one is the one if you say Michael Caine. If you say my cocaine in Michael Caine's accent, it sounds like he's saying his name.
My cocaine. Oh yeah. My cocaine. Yeah, that's awesome. Did I miss Christmas?
That one was not him.
My cocaine. So the only way I could properly do a British accent is if I say my cocaine.
As Michael Caine, yes.
As Michael Caine. See, that's one thing I usually pride myself on, is my British accent, but I guess I should just not.
Well, there's many of them. See, there's lots of different accents.
Yeah, there's I prefer a Cockney, like a my fair lady, like, you know what I mean? Like that Cockney accent. Where's Sal? But anyway, I digress.
Into Jerry Lewis.
I died, lady.
That's literally what you said. My fair lady. Actually, you know what? That's, I would love to see this movie made with like Jerry Lewis as the the corpse. What are you doing with my head, lady? Well, you slaving.
Even better,
yeah.
A Jerry Lewis in this role, but in the version of the Bellboy where he has no lines.
Oh,
and it's all just like it's like
silent movie.
So how would you do this differently?
First of all, I wouldn't have made a stew. That's where she went wrong. Why would you make a stew?
Yeah, right. I mean, like.
There's
those
a lot
take
of work.
Forever.
Well, not just that. There's a lot of work in decapitating a human being.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff to get through, and then to have to put it on boil. Plus, you got to chop up all those vegetables. You know what I mean? And a head's not small. You get one of those big giant pots.
Now, did you actually look at this guy to see what he'd look like? Was it a big head? Oh, really?
I think it's an average head. I mean, it's probably like the size of our head, even though my head looks huge right now because I'm closer. But no, it was just an average.
Self-conscious about that.
You're self-conscious about your giant head?
Yeah, sometimes I was like, back up. Because I remember like people are gonna see this. So hopefully. So it's like but anyway, decapitation. I mean that.
Yeah, I mean it's so labor intensive. It's so much work. I mean, I'm going to be honest. If I, not that I'm going to at any point in time, but if I were ever to kill, I am just too lazy for that kind of stuff. It's just too much. Like, decapitation, the skinning, like, man, that entire apartment must have been covered in flies for like, I mean, even if it's a couple of hours, they're going to come out of the woodwork, literally. And just be all over it. Like it's gotta be disgusting in there. I could never deal with at all.
If there's one job you don't want to take home with you, it's the skinning. It's the skinning of meat. She must have enjoyed it because I mean she didn't have to kill him like that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
She must have enjoyed her job. And
that's exactly it. Like this is one of those circumstances where the person finds their joy in their occupation. And it just sort of, it just perforates every single part of their life, even the killing part.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen very often. I mean, there's very few. You look at someone like John Wayne Gacy, he would use magic tricks to help capture those young men before he would murder them, so yeah, I feel like she was a serial killer, but just got caught after the first one. You know what I mean? Like she didn't have the chance really to really kill. Like, you know what I mean? Like they talk about with serial killers, that sort of kill switch that happens where they sort of up the ante each time. You know what I mean? The first time was like bashing the guy in the head with a frying pan and then stabbing him in the chest and then stabbing him 37 times and then skinning him. You know what I mean? Like that.
I mean, she hit, if this is her first kill, she really hit the ground running.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Right.
It's like, I'm going to skin you, eat your head and serve it to your family.
I'm going to chop off pieces of your buttocks.
Yeah. Now, what did she do with the ass? Was that in the stew?
No. From what I was reading, she fried it. So she chopped some of it off, fried it. And that's what was on the plate. So like a steak type of thing. With
that actually doesn't sound too bad.
And so the other thing that I was thinking about this just as we were talking too, because you mentioned about the vegetables in the stew pot, and like it was very specific. It was roasted potatoes and vegetables and gravy. So not only did she have to decapitate this man, skin him, put him in a stew pot, slice off a piece of his ass, fry that ass. She also fried it. She also put in potatoes in the oven. You know what I mean? Like she had to sit there. Yeah. Potatoes take a little bit.
She was peeling them. She was peeling the oven. She was peeling the potatoes while the heads are sitting there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what there's a lot of,
this is bizarre. The more we get into this, this is one of the most bizarre cases.
Yeah, no, it's really
murder.
I think the more we think about it, the more we realize how, even if it wasn't premeditated, and obviously it was premeditated because she had sharpened knives right near the bed. But even if it wasn't premeditated, the amount of time after she murdered this man and decided to overdose on pills was several hours. So it was just her in this house for hours with the skin body and the smell of rosemary potatoes, and I mean, even if she made gravy from a packet, it's still she's got to make the gravy. That's what gets me. In cooking, they call it mise en place. Getting everything together. There was a lot of mise en place with this. This crazy lady was like, "Oh, I'm organized as hell."
This is not ingredients you see on Chopped.
See, that's the problem. I think it would be ingredients you'd see on Chopped.
Oh my God! Yes, okay. What do we have here?
Yeah.
Rosemary, potatoes.
Some
last year's loser. Last year's loser.
Like,
That's what they do on Chopped. That's what they do on Chopped. They don't. That's like a fucking Twilight Zone. That's like some sort of like,
well,
not Twilight Zone, but like
catchphrase, right? Like, you have been chopped. Literally.
That is
literally been chopped.
That's like a game show you'd see on Total Recall, and like it's like you've been chopped. Like the losers don't get to go home. Like they get killed, and they're in the basket the next week.
And one of the judges has 3 breasts. Like that's what.
Yes. Oh, you make me wish I had 3 hands. That's the line.
Oh man. That's all I can picture now. Is like I can just picture like all of the Chopped judges being like, "Oh, I can't believe he's roasting that ass. Like that's ridiculous. That's not how you prepare proper ass. You gotta lightly marinate that first. This isn't Sonic. Is that what you said?
I really like the flavors coming through the ass. I just wish maybe wish you just let it cook a little longer. Here's the thing. I would suck as a judge.
I like my ass medium rare. You cooked it a little well done.
Yeah. I mean, I would suck as a judge because, first of all, in all seriousness, the food that they make looks delicious. Okay, I'm not stopping after a bite. I'd be like, this is really good, and then like the commercial would come, I'd be like, can I just keep that here? Like I'm not. You can't see me from the bottom. It's like
walking the plate away.
Yeah. What are they? But I would like. Maybe I would like my ass. Like, what is it when they like serve tuna like raw? There's a word for it.
You mean like a tartare?
Tartare.
You would
ass
like
tartare.
Ass tartare.
I would like butt tartare.
Butt tartare.
Would you like some butter with your butt tartare?
She didn't have raw eggs. That's the reason why. She didn't have any eggs in the house. That's why she couldn't do the butt tartare.
Yeah,
which is so disappointing. You need good eggs if you're gonna have butt tartare.
I can't believe it's not butt tartare. So I mean, we could be here all day. The butt tartare battle book. I mean, Dr. Seuss.
Oh, and that's really. I mean, to me, that's the biggest thing here. That was the problem. Like that's what got her caught. Really, other than screwing up and taking not enough drugs. What got her caught was she spent hours preparing all these sides. It was like the shittiest Thanksgiving ever.
Give us this day our daily head. I got the puns, baby. But
then again, it just sounds like a euphemism when you say it like that.
I mean, getting head, getting ass. It's all there.
I mean, it's true. I mean, and she really was. She was
getting both before she,
Yeah, she was getting it all. She was crazy with it. But yeah, I mean, just hours clean, like doing all this stuff. Like it seems so excessive. Not that everything else about.
Yeah, that's it. Just like, what? I guess if I decided to murder someone, which I only think about doing, I would never do it. I would
remember this is admissible in court.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I say I want to kill people just for little things. Like I'll be walking my dog, I'll be like, what is with these fucking people? They don't mow their lawns, and I'll wish death just for a second. I would use the kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Right. Absolutely.
And what's wrong with good old fashioned poison? The drink?
I mean, if you hate him that much, a little broken glass in his stew.
You know what you really got? Who really has it lucky? Who wants to murder and get away with it? Those people who somehow always have like the big barrel you can just like put the body in and like they disappear.
Yes.
Is that only in movie? Is that only in the Ozark?
No. That was how Jeffrey Dahmer got rid of most of his victims.
Okay.
Put them in acid.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, eventually, someday. Yes. Someday our creepy little cannibal prince will come.
Yeah. That's the Christmas special right there.
Yeah, that is the Christmas special. It's the gift that keeps on giving, really.
I mean, that's how I would have done it differently. I probably would have still got caught.
How would you have gotten caught? What would have been your mistake that would have gotten you caught?
I probably would have been telling someone about it.
You are not going to believe the ass steak I had yesterday.
Well, yeah, the big, I don't drink. Yeah, but if give you one martini, that's it. That's how I would tell.
That's
I get a martini. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tell you a secret. Okay. I'm going to tell you something. You know my husband? I killed him. And
I can attest to the fact that I can totally attest to the fact that you are a one martini bitch.
Proud. I mean, I have one martini, I'm on top of the world. 2 martinis, I'm under the table, but 1 martini, I'm on top of the world. Okay.
So you think you would have actually said something about it though?
Eventually, yeah. I definitely would have probably. Yeah. I definitely would have said something. Maybe not right away, but probably when I was comfortable.
Would it be like a mistake telling somebody, or would it be a? I wouldn't guess a braggadocious type of thing, but like a mistake or like a drunken mistake or something like that.
No, it would be. It could be braggadocious, but in all honesty, be
honest with me.
My little Jiminy Cricket probably I would have ended up confessing.
Yeah.
But I would have had the joy knowing that I wasn't found out. I gave myself up.
That's the joy you have there.
Well, it's like, hey, you didn't catch me. I turned myself in. Yeah.
It just dries out like that.
Too much garlic salt.
Yeah, you gotta use garlic salt. No lemon pepper when you're cooking buttocks. I don't feel like that would be, flavors that would go well together.
No, maybe a balsamic reduction.
Maybe, I don't know. I assume it's like a steak, like a
A1.
What's that?
So A1.
A1, maybe, yeah. I could do an A1. I haven't had A1 in a very long time, so I don't know. In this fictional world where we're eating human parts.
I do love a steak. I do love a nice steak with A1.
Oh, yeah.
It's phenomenal.
You could have ended that sentence a little bit earlier, and then I do love a good steak. Just there, done. You don't need anything else. You're not loving the steak with A1.
Bloody, and I like a steak bloody too. Actually, now I think about it, maybe I would enjoy eating humans. I mean, because I like it bloody, and I would just take a bite right out of a cow if I could. You know what I mean? Like
you're one of those.
I like it that raw,
like cold almost.
Yeah, like tartare, like raw, like bloody. I'll go medium. But anything after that. Sometimes I get nervous. I'm like, wow, this is like too bloody. Like, really? Am I gonna get sick?
I thought you were am I gonna get really turned on by this?
No. But then
a killer.
Yeah, right. Making me hungry. I have a feeling that some way, somehow, no matter who we're talking about on this podcast, it's gonna come back to food, and I'm gonna get hungry at every episode.
All right, so note to selves, other episodes, don't talk about cannibals.
Cannibals fascinate me though.
Yeah, why?
Just because where does someone get the desire to eat a human being?
So I don't know. I obviously can't speak for cannibals, but like things that I've read, I know like some of those like cannibal killers, serial killers, do it because they want to possess some of the spirit. And the same thing with a lot of the indigenous tribes that do it. They want to possess the spirit of the person they're consuming. Oftentimes it's sort of a celebrated warrior kind of mentality. Obviously serial killers aren't really thinking that. It's more of like a vitality thing from what I've read. And again, I'm a comic and I'm an actor and a writer, and I'm not any type of criminologist or criminal researcher. I just enjoy reading about this crap. But that's so it's a very like you receive something from the person you're eating.
Okay.
Was that too much? Is that too much?
No, that's a great answer. I just did that is not what I would have expected. I don't know why I never thought people would say, I'm eating the soul and like taking in the soul. I don't know why my head never went there. I was just
I think it's too like those people, you know, that meant that sort of the idea of like when people take pictures of other people, like, you know, sometimes there are cultures that if you take their picture, you're taking a piece of their soul away, because then you're, you know, they exist in this one little frame somewhere else. And so they're not, you know, they're not complete anymore.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's part of it.
Okay. Yeah, I can dig that. That makes sense. Especially the picture thing, because I've heard that like people don't like their picture taken because they people believe some weird shit. But I mean, like seriously, like, and now everyone's soul is done because everyone's got to be a camera. You know?
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, maybe that's the problem with the world. All of our souls are on Snapchat and they disappear after 5 seconds.
Yeah. Megapixels.
Yeah.
You know, dude, that's why I love conversations, because like, that's why I love conversations. That's what I mean. I love
dude, man, let me tell you.
Dude, have you ever tried talking? No, like I love when, I mean, name me one podcast that doesn't veer off into different topics. That's what I love. It's like, it's awesome. Yeah. And there's no rules. You know, it's not a talk show where we're like, all right, we have to be back after this sponsor. You know, like we have to.
That reminds me. We'll be back right after this sponsor. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe one day, hopefully.
Brill cream, you know. Colgate.
Oh, you love. I love that every single reference. You're like, I'm gonna go back as far as humanly possible.
Call for Philip Morris.
Do you like Lucky Strikes?
It's just like a woman like with a vacuum cleaner, and a husband comes home like, "Where's dinner?" You know,
and then she chops off his head and puts it.
Oh no! I burnt the chicken. You know.
I guess it's you for dinner, honey.
Yes. If it's Katherine Knight, you want to ask what's for dinner. Right?
That's right. Beef. Me. It's what's for dinner.
I keep forgetting they're Australian.
They're Australian, yeah.
Like this is kind of an American crime. I can picture some like.
It does sound super American, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I and the other thing that I was really kind of surprised by, it's like it's 2000, so I mean it's like it's not ancient history.
No, and again, when I'm listening to the story, I'm thinking it's the 70s.
Yeah, yep.
Or the 80s. Yeah.
And even some of the pictures I was looking at of them together and her, and she's still alive. She's still in prison. But it's so funny. Like you look at them.
We got to get her on. Just kidding.
So tell us. But like you look at the pictures, even they look very dated. I don't know if that's kind of the sort of international thing that happens, like trends start in the US that sort of in New York and kind of epicenter out.
Back to what I was saying about where it kind of like if you go to certain states in this country right now, people are dressed like they're dated.
Yeah,
like it's like they're not up to, you know, this. It's not like they're not styled. They're not in style. You know, they're dressed like, you know, and it's because some places only have, you know, your shitty stores. People just dress,
and we're not besmirching Walmart.
Well, okay. Take for example Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay.
If you look at how they're dressed in that movie,
I get what you mean.
It's like they're dressed like, is this 1980s? Like when I first saw the movie, I was like, is this movie take place in the 80s? You know, just because that's the way people dress it. Like they're just like 20 years behind the times.
Yeah.
So when I was talking, now that she's from Australia, I'm thinking like, is she from a part of Australia that's like that part in America where they're 20 years behind the times? You know, because they're dressed like the 80s. I just looked her up. She looks like a, you know, like she's giving samples out of Hickory Farms.
It's not a euphemism, folks. Not a euphemism.
What is she? Oh my God, dude, that's crazy. Because what is she giving samples of? You know,
Hickory Farms.
Old Man Hickory.
Exactly. She's whittling his wood.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I don't think like I said, I don't think this is an area that's very underdeveloped. I don't think it's that. New South Wales is essentially like New England. I mean, that's really what it's similar to. So I don't think it's very, like it's backwards, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure. I haven't been to Aberdeen in New South Wales, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we got on like the style of black. Like she's not like made a Mr. Blackwell's list of styles, but
I think we were talking about how weird it is that it's from 2000. That it's not,
oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's not
Yeah,
crazy long ago. It isn't something that happened, like you said. And when you hear about it, it sounds very 70s. You know what I mean? It has that sort of like Manson family-esque.
Yes.
Who's doing this crap kind of thing.
And maybe I just don't remember hearing it on the news. I'm sure it was though, but maybe not here.
I doubt it was here. I mean, I know it was a sensation in Australia. Obviously, her sentence was she's the very first person, first female to be convicted with life without the possibility of parole. She's the first in Australia to ever get that sentence. So I mean, it made major news in 2001. But also like. A lot of stuff happened near the end of 2001, so
Yeah, in the States.
Well, yeah, but I mean, obviously that had a ripple effect around the world, and
that swept Katherine Knight under the rug.
Exactly, right?
It's like, it's like, I think Johnny Cash, his death, for some people overshadowed John Ritter.
I don't remember where they were together. Like the one the one that I remember like that was Farrah Fawcett and Michael Jackson. Like I think they died within a day of each other. Like Farrah first and then Michael.
Oh,
and it was one of those things like everyone was like, "Oh, Farrah," and then who? It was that kind of overshadowed.
I actually forgot Farrah Fawcett was dead.
I didn't mean to break the news to you once more.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Like I said, she has all the earmarkings of a serial killer. Everything about her life growing up, her trouble, her very awful childhood, the relationship she's had, they're all kind of earmarks of a serial killer. And there's always that ramp up that serial killers have. When they're children, they usually kill animals, and they sort of move up to abuse against people and violence against people. And it just ramps up and ramps up because the feeling it never ends. You just need to crave more and more. And that's when they start like murdering. And I think, it almost feels like that's the same thing here. Obviously had a history of violence against men that were showing her affection. And she obviously had a history of escalating violence, frying pan, stabbing one of her ex-husbands. And then to literally skin a man alive, skin the guy, well, not alive, I think he was dead by that point, but skin a guy, decapitate him, stab him 37 times at least. It's kind of like, if she got away with it, I'm sure she'd be, doing it more and more.
Yeah. Once you taste the blood.
Friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you taste the blood.
Well, once you taste blood, you want more. That's like, isn't that a line from Rocky Horror as well? Just don't lose your head.
Ooh, and thank you for bringing it back again.
Yes, no problem.
Well, that's been our show, I think.
Right? Yeah, Katherine Knight in the bag.
Or in the stew pot.
In the stew pot.
In the stew pot. Katherine Knight in the stew pot. Well, that's how we think we would kill smarter. You guys, certainly let us know what you think. We are on all of the social medias. I think we're all into the same one, right? Kill Smarter Pod.
Kill Smarter Pod on right. Instagram, Twitter. I haven't started TikTok.
I haven't either yet. And we didn't start a Facebook page yet either. We should.
No.
We should probably do that at some point. But we do have a YouTube page, which is what this is going to be on. Yeah. So check those out. Let us know. You can always send us a message through any of those mediums. If you find a good killer that you think we should talk about, let us know. We're always interested in more. I have been Jay Burns. I'm joining with me as always,
Aaron Lydecker.
Thank you for that. And
I just said that with too much enthusiasm. Like,
Do you want to try again?
yeah, Aaron Leidecker.
Okay. Hold on. Wait,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to keep it. So I've been Jay Burns, along with,
Aaron Leidecker.
and this has been Kill Smarter.
You better keep all those. All right.
If you are a victim of a crime and need help, or you would like to donate to those in need, please contact the National Center for Victims of Crime by visiting www.victimsofcrime.org.